So not done one of these videos for a little while. I really wanted to get one of these in because it's been kind of a long March. Been doing Ramadan, so Eid Mubarak to those who are celebrating that as well. But hoping to get back more into trading, more regular videos, just kind of my thoughts, I suppose, overall on what the market is up to. And I won't touch upon today just yet because I more want to go back because middle of the month I prepped this video to make, but I ended up not making it because there was other bits going on. But what I was looking at, and I nicely named this one Bouncy Bouncy, which is we're starting to form a base here and wait for the bounce and then evaluate the bounce. This is what we ended up with. So what was it 16th? So that weekend, I think, here across here, I made the video around here thinking, okay, we've got to bounce, and that's look at our, I guess, possible scenarios that might happen, and kind of most likely, but I don't put too much emphasis on most likely and sometimes almost middle scenario sorts of things. But what I was looking at, so this red line was me trying to draw out the SMA 200 SMA was how far up this move in terms of a bounce will we get? I think Pete from One Option pointed out that we kind of don't really want to get past this level here, which is kind of, if we're looking at, I suppose, from a monthly candle, I'm not sure if it reflects upon the monthly candle, but it's kind of like we don't want to get halfway point through that candle is kind of what we were looking at and looking to do. I'm just going to move this onto a bigger screen. So we didn't want to get past halfway point on this candle. So what do we get from the bounce? And again, looking at my most likely scenarios, it was looking at, will we just whimper up kind of that 200 SMA? And again, the longer we spend below that, the bigger chance of reversals happening. So, this move was not too bad, but I think looking at the volume was kind of my giveaway. Look at the volume here. Fantastic. Really nice. Difficult to trade that. I don't really day trade, and because we didn't have that confirmation, I just didn't trade very much, to be honest, over March because I was not confident in this move. In hindsight, you can look at it and be like, oh yeah, that's a pretty good selling move. But I took some trades, not many, to be honest. And doing Ramadan, difficult to focus on when you're fasting all day anyway. So the bounce happens. Going through my scenarios, I was either we're going to reject off it or kind of go over it near this kind of level around here, then kind of whimper down, not whimper down, sorry, but kind of smack back down again. So what obviously ended up happening was those are the less likely scenarios. But basically, all my scenarios mostly kind of counted on going downwards. So if we would have approached that level, I would have to reevaluate if we were hitting it with gusto and strength. But I thought that was unlikely. And my thesis is that sellers are still in control. They've taken control here. I know we've had this kind of move here, but this is wimpy sideways stuff, isn't it? And these were warning signs that where is the strength going to come? Where is the buying power going to come from? And there's various stats around, like a lot of the funds, institutions are mostly, they don't have much cash. Like they actually don't have too much on. But on the other hand, record low amounts of cash, but then there was a consensus that more than 80% of them thought that things were overvalued, which was quite interesting that everyone's bought in, but not, what's the word? Whatever, you get what I'm saying. So scenario one happens, really nice, and I thankfully was paying attention around this time for the market. So I saw this rejection off. I really liked the price action that kind of came with it. So if I just go to a 15-minute chart and just look at, I don't remember the day. It was Wednesday the 26th. And it was just a kind of continuous kind of pip downwards, really. So if I just get back to the 26th, so here it is. I was waiting for a bounce. So I was thinking, oh, maybe we'll bounce back at some point, but we didn't. Nothing really happened. So I think I just got in. I think this is what I saw, and I was like, that's what we've mustered. And I was short a couple of positions in here. I'll go to them in a second. And yeah, kind of rode that wave down because I'm still trying to figure out what kind of trader I suppose I want to be. Is it day trading? Don't think I had the time and capacity, full-time job, planning various other bits, versus short-term swing trades. So they can be upwards of 2 days, maybe even a day, and then it makes it a day trade, but very few of those into a couple of days, 3, 4, 5 days, and then longer term swings off into months. I think I kind of fit into that short term swing kind of category. I think that's where I nicely fit in. So I was really happy to be short here. This kind of into this Wednesday, rode it down into Thursday, into Friday. I could have taken profits there and potentially should have taken profits here this morning, potentially. But I'm only just tuning into what's going on, but just kind of waiting to see how the bounce is kind of happening. Again, not super stoked by that. Can we fill the gap? Got a long way to go. But some of the positions I took, I just wanted to roll over some of those. So I liked FSLR 26, like the volume, and when the market's been going up ish, FSLR has been going pretty much sideways since its earnings. So it's not under the AVWAP, anchored VWAP, and D1 wise, it's looking pretty bearish. Even though, because there's going to be lots of stocks that are going down with the market, so I wanted to pick a stock that was already being hammered a little bit, and we could kind of see in here that it was relatively weak. But what's annoyingly happened is it's actually started to show strength. So it's stuck at this level here, but I only took a starting position on the 26th for this one. So around this, 128 level, that sort of thing. So it is in profit, but I'm more interested in it breaking down further. So I have a starting position. If this kind of fails to fill that bounce, which is looking quite nice potentially, I might add to that initial starting position because I am bearish, but I want to get my market thesis first. Nike, happy with that. Took that same sort of date. That's continuing to go down. I will look to add to that potentially. Because what I don't want, I know I said, 3 to 5 days is my kind of thought process and time process. But I don't want to exit just purely based on time. Like if things are still heading downwards, then this is pretty good. I know I'll look to take profits at some point, but I don't want to exit just for the sake of exiting, just because I hold things for 3, 4 days. Therefore, I will exit now. Because I actually did that on MRK is another one that I'm in. I'm trying to give it a bit of room to breathe. Potentially could have exited, but this AV up here is my stop loss. The thesis is fair enough. Maybe it didn't break down. It wasn't the best sector for it either. But I want to see that reject off this level, which it potentially might be doing. So the other one was Skyworks Solutions. This one's a bit annoyed about in that, again, called it right. Weak D1, again, versus the market, what was happening, bouncing up to the 200 SMA. What was this one doing? Falling out. And I think I was trying to lighten, even though it was just a starting position. I ended up exiting around 11:30, that sort of time. And one, there was more to go. And two, my kind of aim was 61, so just a bit of an early exit. A bit annoying, but is what it is. The other one I could have taken, but decided not to because I think I was waiting for confirmation, but I ended up taking other positions. But I probably like this one better at the time, but never mind. It's AVGO. Really like it. And waiting for confirmation. Had a start off on Thursday. Keeps going down. Bam. Probably add to that. And would be more than $10 up per share on that one. So I did like that one. But I'm just looking for weak D1s. I'm trying to put my plan together at the moment for what's going to happen to the market. I think we're probably going to stick around this level. I think we might bounce back up. We might close this gap over today, tomorrow. We've got some other news events coming that might drive us up a little bit. But Pete said it in a one option video that I really liked. We've got to play the odds with all this stuff. And if we're thinking about odds, what are the odds if we've got some average entry positions and starting positions, especially around this level? What are the chances that we blow up to test the 200 SMA to the upside versus we test this downside and break this downside? And I think he's right, and I loved his analysis on this, which is 90% upwards probably a probability that we're breaking down, or at least a bounce will happen, so we want to look to reload on that. So this might not be the break, so it might still take a few days to get there, but the odds are heavily skewed in the favor of the downside about which one are we going to test first. So yeah, I might look to add to some of those swing positions, but what I'm interested in is just evaluate the extent of the bounce. It's not looking amazing because it's not exactly doing a great job nearly an hour into the open of closing the gap. If sellers were interested here, they'd be snapping up to close this gap, but it's not really happening at the moment, is it? We may well jump to VWAP and then ping back off and drift higher up to this level, and we might continue to drift up. And yeah, I've got this anchored VWAP to the low as well, but that's kind of my analysis. I want to start getting more regular videos out, just clearing my thinking out. Happy that I entered positions here, saw that move, entered it. Wasn't actually super fussed on entries, to be perfectly honest with you. I just wanted to be aggressive. I wanted to be aggressive into this move. I liked it. I liked what I was seeing. I liked the positions I got, the D1s. Fair enough. I know I thought this sometimes about, I'll just wait for a pullback and maybe it would be a good time to enter. Which, look at Nike, for example. Maybe this was a better time to get in, and I may have had it then. I don't think I had it. I think I waited. So sometimes there is, but sometimes you've just got to be ruthless, I think, and just attack it. Really, you've got the momentum on your side, you've got the odds on your side, and go for it. And I'm still learning, still trying to figure things out, etc. So that's that video, and we'll reevaluate again in a couple of days. I think maybe midweek, and just see where we are with trading around this level.